I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show can imply some sort of controversy, and that's because the title is Conflicting Opinions. And I think that a lot of people are going to be having a difference of opinion over the weekend and next week, because on Saturday there is a dynamic full moon at 1 degree of Sagittarius, and that is a mutable sign. There are 4 mutable signs: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, and there are planets in all of those signs forming a grand cross with 6 planets which are all squaring or opposing each other. And that can bring conflict and certainly a difference of opinion, because we know under a full moon, the moon opposes the sun, and that by itself can bring confusion and indecision. So if the full moon is at 1 degree of Sagittarius, that means that the sun is now at 1 degree of Gemini. But there's a whole lot more going on in Sagittarius, because Mars is there at 2 degrees, which means the alignment is very close. That's a tight conjunction between the moon and Mars. And Mars is a planet of anger, greed, passion, jealousy, envy, aggression, and even war. And it is very close in alignment to that gentle moon, which rules our emotions. So one reason why there can be a difference of opinion is because emotions could sort of boil over, and there could be crimes of passion, or there could be aggression, certainly during the time of the full moon, which will be Saturday and Sunday, or throughout the rest of next week. So this is a week when we have to be very, very cautious. But besides Mars and the full moon being in Sagittarius, Saturn, the planet of delay and obstruction, and a planet that can sometimes represent old grudges, is also in Sagittarius. Saturn and Mars are 2 malefic planets because they can get you in trouble. And along with the full moon on Saturday, they are all being trined by the 3rd malefic planet, Uranus, which rules sudden change and rebellion, in Aries, the sign of new beginnings. So just a little spark could ignite a very big fire right now, and that fire could be one of aggression or passion, or certainly overreaction that could cause people to move way too fast. And that's why that's not a good idea under this full moon. But the 3 planets in Sagittarius, yes, are opposing Gemini, the sun in Gemini. That's 4 of the planets. But Jupiter in Virgo, another mutable sign, and Jupiter is direct now, is squaring the sun in Gemini and all 4 planets in Sagittarius. And Neptune in Pisces, which is the ruler of the sign, is also squaring the 3 planets in Sagittarius and the sun in Gemini. The outstanding characteristic of mutable signs is that they're very flexible, and they're somewhat adaptable and agreeable usually, and they are quite willing, even if they don't agree with your opinion, they're quite willing to listen to it, and they're able to see somebody else's point of view. Only under this full moon and next week, I don't think that's going to happen, and that's why the show is titled Conflicting Opinions. So you have to be very, very cautious in the next week, because with Jupiter in Virgo squaring the full moon, and Virgo ruling facts and details, and Jupiter ruling an abundance of them and being direct, there is an indication that the facts and the details speak for themselves, that they are in, that some performance can be evaluated because it has been examined and re-examined several times, and the facts have been checked out and they are verified. So nobody can hide or put a spin on the facts. And Neptune is in Pisces, squaring those planets in Sagittarius as well. And Neptune rules Pisces rules hidden enemies and deception and things going on behind the scenes. So the problem is that people can be saying one thing, but maybe doing another. And it can imply that people have hidden agendas now. And if they have hidden agendas, that means that you can't really trust everything they're saying, and there could be some pretty good liars around. And you'd have to be careful about that as well, because anything could promote misunderstandings now. And if there are misunderstandings leading to conflicting opinions, sooner or later somebody could get pretty mad at that, because remember, Mars, that planet of anger, is closely conjuncting the full moon in Sagittarius. So this is not a good full moon. It has very little that will help you out. And in fact, it could get you in trouble. And that is why you really need to sort of put a lid on your emotions, or if you are around anything that is happening real fast, you need to get out of there, because there could be destruction of one sort or another, and it could be caused by somebody who's just out of control. So this is why it's not a good week to express your opinion. No one's going to agree with it anyway, so I hope you just save your breath and bide your time. However, there is good news, and that is because there is a fabulous grand trine in the earth signs. And there are 4 planets there, and they are all in very harmonious aspect. And that is because Mercury and Venus are both in Taurus, and Taurus is the ruler of the sign. Venus is the ruler of Taurus and is very strong there, and it is almost at the end of Taurus. It's at 26 degrees of Taurus, and Mercury is now retrograde, but on Monday it will go direct. And since Taurus is a fixed financial sign, there may be some delayed good news about financial affairs. Those 2 planets are trining Jupiter in Virgo. It is a mutable sign, but it is very well reinforced by the 2 planets in Taurus right now. It's particularly good that Venus and Jupiter are trine each other, and both are direct. That's very positive. And so people who do have money can be looking for steady, reliable people who have succeeded just little by little, but they're very steady at it, and they may be thinking that those are good people to invest in or put their money on. So there can be recognition or rewards for people who have been very, very reliable. And those 3 planets are trining Pluto in Capricorn, which is retrograde, and it does rule people at the top. And so that since it's a retrograde planet, it means there can be changes at the top of management, or even at the top of countries, or people who are heads of things. They can be held accountable now, because remember, the facts are in, and they are indisputable. They can be verified. And for that reason, it simply means with this grand trine in earth signs that the people who hold the purse strings are in absolute agreement. They know what they're doing. That's wonderful. But even though they're in agreement, I don't think anyone else is going to be in agreement under this rather treacherous full moon that occurs on Saturday in Sagittarius. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think it means that you should expect the unexpected, because Uranus is in your sign, and it is being strongly fortified by the Moon, Mars, and Saturn in Sagittarius, which are all trining your sun and Uranus in your own sun sign. And because all 3 malefic planets are trining each other, and because Mars, your own ruler, is so closely in alignment, conjuncting that moon, which is a passive, gentle sign ruling our emotions and ruling women, it simply means that, you should expect the unexpected, because someone could erupt, somebody could overreact, or they could be angry, or they could just sort of lose control, and that could affect you, Aries, and cause some sort of sudden change. Or it might be you that, with a lot of backing right now, perhaps you want to make a new start. And if you do, Aries, you may as well go for it, because you do have a lot of fortification in Sagittarius. I hope that you have thought a little bit beyond a new start, and you can be asking, I hope you ask yourself if you can afford it and where it will all end up. But generally, an Aries is so good at making new starts that they don't tend to think of how something is going to finish, because they have the energy to go ahead, and they have the pioneering spirit to make something anew. And so if you want to start something, now's the time to do it, Aries, because you do have a lot of support. But I would be real careful around people who are over emotional or too aggressive. It could affect you as well. That's why I'm saying expect the unexpected, because I think it's going to happen to you. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is simply a time when you can be ending your preparations for some sort of financial matter that you think is going to work out fine. And I agree with you. I think it's going to work out fine too, because Venus is still in your sign and Mercury is there as well, and Mercury will go direct on Monday, and Mercury is the planet of the mind and of communication. So I think there is going to be some favorable news regarding a plan that you have been working on behind the scenes. And it can be a plan that is rewarding others who have been hardworking and steady and reliable, because the two planets in your sign do trine Jupiter in Virgo, which is wonderful. And that can also mean that you can be pleased at an improvement in your health and in your bank book as well. And then the two planets in your sign and Jupiter in Virgo are also trining Pluto in Capricorn. So if there is a change at the top or in management, that is not going to hurt you, Taurus. And in fact, you may be instrumental in some sort of change, because people who are in charge of the purse strings do agree on who's worth it and who isn't, and they know what they're doing. And since you're an earth sign, I think you know what you're doing, Taurus. And so this is an excellent time to follow through on your plans. And since Mercury rules buying and selling, this can be a time when you can be getting ready to disperse funds or to sell something or to invest in something. And I think all of that's going to be successful. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, yours is a mutable sign. And that full moon on Saturday at 1 degree is exactly opposite the sun in your sign, also at 1 degree. But Mars is there as well, opposing your sun sign, and so is Saturn. Oh, that's pretty heavy duty. You have to almost walk on eggshells, Gemini, because somebody could really be trying to make your life miserable and could even be thinking about some sort of attack, whether it's a verbal attack or a financial attack or some sort of legal issue that they would want to attack you on. They could have it in mind to do that. So there can be treacherous people around, and you need to stay away from them, Gemini. And at the same time, Jupiter in Virgo is squaring your sun, and it is direct. So the facts are in, and there isn't any way to put a spin on them. You'll just have to face them. And Neptune in Pisces is also squaring your sun, which means there can be people around that have a hidden agenda, and they are sure not telling you the whole truth. In fact, they can be trying to mislead you and create a difference of opinion. So no matter what your good ideas are right now, Gemini, I think you should keep a lid on all of them and wait for a better time to express your opinions, because this is not it. And yet, if you take a little closer look, Gemini, you should be comforted by the fact that there is a lot of help for you behind the scenes. And that is because, remember I said Venus has come up to 26 degrees of Taurus. There's only 30 degrees in a sign. So it is within 4 degrees of moving into your sign, Gemini. And a conjunction is when two planets are within 7 degrees or closer. Venus is actually conjuncting the sun in your sign at 1 degree. They are only 5 degrees apart. In different signs, but they're still only 5 degrees apart. And that means you have a lot of backup behind the scenes, that you're more popular than people realize, or maybe even that you realize. And there can be some very good financial news headed your way behind the scenes when your ruler Mercury goes direct on Monday. So yes, you're going to have to be real quiet in the public eye right now, and do not make yourself a target, because there's going to be too many people coming at you if you do that. And so if you're asking for trouble, you'll get it, and you'll regret that. So try to be as quiet as you can, because behind the scenes, there's good things going on, and that's where you should concentrate your efforts next week. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when there isn't a lot of strength in the water signs. Neptune in Pisces is trining your sign, which means you can get help or knowledge from people behind the scenes, but they may not be all telling the truth right now, so you have to not quite trust everybody, Cancer. And believe me, with 6 planets in mutable signs all squaring and opposing each other, there are a lot of differences of opinion around, and there can be conflict, and there can be sort of verbal warfare going on, and you need to stay out of it, Cancer, and just concentrate on your home and family right now. And so, if somebody's coming at you and their emotions are all wound up and they're about to explode, is there a possibility that you could excuse yourself and just say you had to go do something else? Or could this be a good time for you to visit the relatives, Cancer, and sort of be out of town for a while? I think so. Because it is the full moon rules your sign. It is in Sagittarius, but it is being conjuncted harshly by Mars right now. So you too have to watch that your emotions do not boil over, and you need to stay out of any controversy, particularly with family members. That's why you should be real busy doing a task that you've put off for a long time, so that you can't get embroiled in other people's emotions, which are likely to erupt now. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, you're going to have to be very, very careful not to respond too quickly to something, because you could do that. And the reason why is there's 4 planets in fire signs. Uranus in Aries, a malefic planet, but one that indicates sudden change or new beginnings, is trining your sun. And the full moon in Sagittarius, along with Mars and Saturn, the other 2 malefic planets, are also trining your sun. So if somebody was aggressive, or they were out of control, or angry about something, they could sort of head your way, Leo, or they could ask for your help, or they could try to suck you into their fight right now, or their controversy. And that is why you need to sort of put a lid on your impulses and not be too impulsive with anything. The first thing you should do this weekend, Leo, is step back. And count to 1,000 if you have to, but do not jump into anything very quickly, because 3 malefic planets are all trining your sun sign. I think you would regret it. You might get into more trouble than you realize. And that's why I hope you really cool it this weekend, Leo. Or if you wanted to start something new, you sure could do it, but I think that you'd better think a little bit more about the money, because Venus and Mercury in Taurus are squaring your sun. So this isn't the time to be extravagant either. Even if you have the money, this is only a time for you to cool it, Leo. And that is because there aren't any really good planets trining your sun sign. There's 3 bad planets trining it, and that's why you might get into trouble if you act too fast. So I hope you calm down. All right, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, remember I said that since yours is a mutable sign, that a lot of people can be having conflicting opinions, particularly under the full moon on Saturday, which will continue through Sunday, so throughout the weekend. And then the moon will move on, but there will still be 5 other planets in harsh aspect in the mutable sign. So you are looking at people who can all be chattering and saying their own thoughts, and nobody's agreeing with anybody else, and it can make you a nervous wreck, Virgo. So you need to be able to sort of step out of that, because you could have a good opinion too, and perhaps other people can, but there isn't going to be any agreement. There isn't going to be any consensus, not with 6 planets squaring and opposing each other. So you need to take a long view and keep that long view on finances. And that is because yours is an earth sign. and there is a grand trine in Earth signs, and Jupiter's in your sign. So the facts and figures are adding up pretty well financially for you, Virgo, both regarding long-term security and also regarding some investments. Keep your mind on that, and remember that Virgo is the sign of solitude. And so try not to get in the middle of a lot of chatter right now, which is going to be completely unresolved anyway, because no matter how hard you try to be logical, no one is willing to see anyone else's point of view. That's why there's conflict. And so you may as well just keep as quiet as possible and concentrate on your own good financial outcomes right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when it's a time of shifting sands, and they are shifting in your favor. And the reason why is that the sun has just come into Gemini, and it is now trining your sun. There haven't been planets in air signs for a while, but now the sun is there. Venus will leave Taurus, it will come into Gemini, that'll be trining your sun as well, and then Mercury will do that as well. So, you know, things are going to turn in your favor, Libra. And yet, for right now, since that full moon in Sagittarius, along with some malefic planets, are sextiling your sun, I think that other people can sort of erupt or be out of control or be over emotional. And what I'm cautioning you about is not to jump in and try to make peace. And the reason why is there's too much volatility. In fact, there could be someone around that could have serious legal issues, and it would be a judgment of the courts or some legal body that would go against them. And even though your sign rules law, there's nothing you could do about it because the facts are in and they are proven to be true. And so, Libra, this is a good time for you to keep wrapping things up in your life and getting ready to be more popular and to be in the public eye and be able to talk about your good ideas, but not at the moment, particularly not this weekend or next week. So things are turning out better. You could be getting some good ideas and maybe even planning a short trip right now. That would be great, but I wouldn't tell too many people right now. It isn't really paying to be too communicative right now because people are scattered in their opinions and they're not willing to really listen. So save your breath, Libra. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when I think that you two need to step back. And the reason why is that full moon in Sagittarius with the moon conjunct Mars, your own ruler, and Saturn in the sign of Sagittarius are all right ahead of your sun sign. So you may be a witness to someone else who's very aggressive or has lost control or has lost a legal issue or is having some sort of conflict in their lives. And you know, I don't think that you can save a sinking ship right now, said Scorpio, nor should you try. And the reason why is because the facts are in, and there can be an awful lot of misunderstanding and conflicting opinions right now, and I don't think people can sort things out. The facts are clear, and people who have their hands on the purse strings, they know what they're doing, but everyone else has different ideas, and no one is willing to compromise. And so this is a very good time strategically for you to be as quiet as possible, because Mars is about to come back into your sign. And I don't know if that means, well, I know you'll be very busy when it comes back in your sign. It will come back in on May 28th, and it will stay there until early August. So you're going to have your hands full anyway, Scorpio. So this is a better time for you to really step back, and this is not really your time to shine. And this is a full moon that isn't going to do anybody any good. And that is why I would step back if I were you. And try to plan what your next move is, but not communicate too much to others right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, this is simply a time when there's going to be a lot of light on you this weekend, particularly Saturday, because that's when there is a full moon in your sign, and it is going to be harshly conjuncted by Mars, that planet of anger, greed, aggression, jealousy, envy, war and hate. And so Mars is going to stir things up in your life, Sagittarius, and I'm sure that you are not looking forward to that, and I don't blame you. Sagittarius rules the courts, and it rules religion and philosophy, and it also rules foreign countries and people from foreign countries, and it rules large international bodies. And so there can just be a lot going on that you can be involved with. And if you are not directly involved with it, in other words, if you're not ready to explode or lose control, you might be around other people that could be very aggressive. And they may not have your best interests in mind, Sagittarius. This is a time when you need to think about your own safety. You can be very concerned emotionally about a matter with a woman. And, you know, I don't think there's anything you can do about that except try to remain calm at the moment, because too many other people have conflicting opinions. And the facts are in, and they're indisputable, and they can be proven. And people behind the scenes can have hidden agendas of their own, leading to misunderstandings. So this is a time when you need to really lay low, Sagittarius, because this full moon doesn't have anything good in it for anybody, but particularly not for you. And that is why you need to read a good book all weekend long and not say too much to anybody, Sagittarius, and really lay low. And this is for your own safety. It's very important for you to really be quiet this weekend and next week. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is simply a time when I think you can be quite pleased with good financial news that could be coming your way as early as next week, or at least by the end of the month. And that is because Mercury is going to go direct in Taurus, and Mercury and Venus are trining your sun along with Jupiter in Virgo. So you can be pleased about an improvement in your health and in your bank book, and because you've been sort of slowly and steadily cutting costs, and they could be paying off. But you can also be pleased by some good news about a possible investment or something that has to do with good money and something that's really worth it. And that good news can be coming to you certainly after Monday or by the end of the month, or no later than the start of June. And I would follow up on it, Capricorn. It would be really an excellent opportunity for you. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when you two have to be really careful. The full moon in Sagittarius does sextile your sun, but there's some malefic planets involved, and they are all trining Uranus, your own ruler, another malefic planet in Aries. And so since your ruler is involved in this full moon on Saturday, you could be involved as well, and you may be tempted to act too fast or say too much, or your emotions could suddenly boil over, and whatever you do, you would regret it, Aquarius. And because I can tell you for sure there wouldn't be any more money no matter what you said, and that is because Venus and Mercury in Taurus are squaring your sun right now, and Mercury is still retrograde. And so this is not a time for you to express your opinion about any financial matter, or hopefully about anything else, because you could make a quick change or a new start without thinking things through, and then you may end up regretting it. So this is a time when I think you just need to wait and see what happens, Aquarius. The sun in Gemini is trining your sun now. You can be coming up with some really good ideas. Why don't you work on them instead? Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time, since your sign is a mutable sign, that you need to be very, very cautious, because there are 6 planets, including Neptune in your own sign, which are all squaring or opposing each other under the full moon on Saturday. And that means that this weekend, while the full moon is in effect, you could be in danger, Pisces, because it is the full moon, Mars and Saturn in Sagittarius, that are all squaring your sun. You would have to face facts, particularly about health or the state of your financial affairs, because Jupiter in Virgo is opposing your sun, and the sun in Gemini is also squaring your sun. So this is a time for you to be extra careful, particularly when traveling, and also try not to be around people who who are volatile in their emotions, because you could be a person who is in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you could become a victim, Pisces. That is why you need to be very careful. And don't express any opinions for about another week, Pisces. One, nobody's listening, but if somebody was listening, they wouldn't agree, and you could do yourself some harm. And so that's why it may be a little bit more tactful just to be as quiet as you can right now. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want on our website, starborninstitute.org.